I'm going crazy, sitting on that train, and I don't think I'm ever coming home. Don't think I'm lazy, 'cause I'm going crazy. Yes, I'm going crazy.
Nope, that's not it. Hey, everybody. Happy Friday night. There I am. What's happening? How are you? All ready to go here? I'm in the man cave. I've got the bacon candle burning. I've got a couple beers tonight. I'm drinking beer tonight for the first time in a very long time. What else? I've got my Pacas slippers on. Look at these things. They make my feet sweat, but they are so comfortable. I've got that. What else? I've got my Julian Edelman shirt on. I cannot wait to see him in the Tampa Bay uniform. That's going to be exciting. I'm looking forward to that. And I've got all my T-shirts. I brought T-shirts to show you guys. I'm a T-shirt guy. That's all I wear. So I thought we'd start the show with some of my favorites. Look at this one that I just bought. And this one's from a company called Local Vintage. Look at that. Great Woods, right? That's what. Did I do this last week? I don't remember if I did this last week. That's the only thing I call it. And this thing is so soft. Local Vintage. I would highly recommend buying their shirts. They're a little pricey. That one was about $40 with the tax and all that fun stuff. I got this for Christmas or my birthday. My birthday from the kids. Pew pew. Look at that. Huh? Isn't that funny? What else? I brought these down a couple weeks ago. Oh, look at this. I have this. You know why I have this? Because I am going to be working the lunch shift in just a while at Central Tavern once he gets up and running. Michael is doing the speakeasies right now. Molly's working the front, so you can see her tomorrow night if you want to go to Central Tavern. Oh, this Andy got this for me. I think I got this for Christmas. Funny stuff. That's the kind of family we are. Is that all I brought down? Oh, this is from Schitt's Creek. Nobody ever gets it when I wear it. Love that one. And I'm very, very excited because I just joined this club. As if I don't have enough T-shirts. I joined this club. It's the Dive Bar T-shirt Club. And every month for $20, that's it, I get a new T-shirt. And that's the Manatee Pub. They give you the T-shirt. It's an actual dive bar. I looked it up. It's on Facebook, although they haven't posted anything in a few years, so I don't know if they're still open. They give you a little postcard. And it's an actual, that's the bar. And it's an actual postcard because little blurb about who they are and what they do. They're in Homosassa, Florida. And they talk about alligators. I don't know if I will ever visit. That looks like my kind of place. And then they talked about alligators being like close by. And I decided, hey, I'll just wear the shirt. A couple things before we get going. We have a great show tonight. We're going to be talking to Dale Shadbegian. Sorry, Dale. Cape and Plymouth Business Media. And he's also the owner of Woolfie's Bakery, the most delicious bakery on the Cape. It's in Dennisport. We're going to talk about Cape Cod and the summer with Dale. He's in with all the businesses there. I'm looking forward to the Cape this year, although I think it's going to be pretty busy. Scott Abramovitch, the writer and director of this new movie called Eat Wheaties with Tony Hale. It looks fantastic. Tim Rice showed me the trailer today. And it's funny, as we were having the conversation, I was also trying to reach the producers and the directors. And within like 5 or 6 minutes, I got a hold of Scott, and he was happy to come on tonight to talk about the movie. It's packed with, I want to say stars, comedic stars, people you will recognize from movies and TV. A lot of strong supporting actors in this. And I mean, the wonderful Tony Hale. So we'll talk about that in a bit. As I pour my beer, I want to tell you about a very special collaboration. And I have actually a few things to talk about with these guys. 67 Degrees Brewing in Franklin. If you want to go to my Myfn in the Morning group page, you can see a conversation that I had with everybody that's working with this collaboration. The first one is a beer that they just put out called As One. Arc Point Brewing collaborated with 67 for this, and they're raising money and awareness for the Massachusetts Immigrants and Refugee Alliance, MIRA. So if you can get down to 67 degrees, and thank you so much to the gang for dropping this off at my house. I know I've made it when people are dropping off beer at my house. So thank you, 67 degrees. And as we're talking about 67 degrees, let me talk about another collaboration they have with Stash Strong. It's a nationwide effort to raise money and awareness for brain cancer research. Now, they have put a beer together that they've teamed up with over 200 breweries around the world. Very easy to find on Facebook and online, Stash Strong. I believe it's stashstrong.org. They're working locally with 67 Degrees Brewing, Crew Brew in Raynham, Mighty Squirrel in Waltham, and Wormtown in Worcester. So half of the proceeds for this $8 pint is going to go to brain cancer research. So help them out. There's the can right there. I don't think they'll be selling the can at 67 degrees, but they will have it on tap throughout the entire month of May. A couple more things. Speaking of beer, our friends at Rushford and Sons, we had Brian on a couple weeks ago. They are open tomorrow. They've got their patio open for business with food trucks. It's going to be a great event. I know Say Cheese, which is an amazing food truck, is going to be there Sunday at 11 o'clock because I put that in my calendar. They're located right behind the Nevermind store in Upton, downtown in the business district. And tomorrow morning, I will be here. Bring the kids down. It's the Myfn First Class Fishing Derby. It's our 30th. Isn't that crazy? It's free for kids up to 15 years old. You can win trophies and prizes. Well, it all says it right there. You can read it. Again, go to the Myfm 101.3 Facebook page to get more details on that. But just show up. Just show up and fish. It's a lot of fun. No pressure. And again, you could win. You can win $100 if you catch Marcy, which is the biggest fish that we throw in there every year. Is that it? I think that's all the announcements I have. All right, let's go to my first guest. I'm very excited. Always excited to talk. I was drinking that out of the can. That's so unrefined. Let me just pour this first. It's why I got these IPA glasses. That's a horrible pour. It's all foam. While that simmers down, let's go to our first guest, Erik Davis, managing editor at Fandango. Erik.
What's up?
How are you?
Good. I have a little rum and diet something, so I'll cheers to you.
Well, cheers to you, brother.
Good to see you, man.
Good to see you too. If people love movies and they watch the interviews and they go on IMDb and all Fandango and all these pages, usually you pop up somewhere. Talk about your job and what you do for a living. It's really hard to comprehend sometimes because as a movie fan, I'm like, oh my God, that's the job of a lifetime. So talk about what you do.
Yeah, in simple terms, I watch a lot of movies. I get paid to watch movies, which sounds awesome. But there's a lot actually that I do, and my job is sort of requires me to be very versatile and to jump into all kinds of different situations. For example, I was just on Twitter Spaces, which is like Twitter's new audio only kind of like similar to Clubhouse, and I know Facebook is developing one as well. Sort of these audio only rooms where you can just listen to a panel. So I just hosted a 90-minute panel on episode 5 of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which is not a movie, it's a TV show, but it is Marvel Studios. And so I did some of that. But then I'm also a managing editor for Fandango, and so I kind of help steer our editorial voice all the way through, all across our social platforms and across YouTube. I help set up all of the interviews that we do, and I work with the studios very closely to, when it comes to talent and wanting to do interviews with stars and what that interview is going to be. If we want to debut like a clip or a trailer, I kind of work with the studios to do that. And then I also go on the radio and I go on TV to talk about all of the movies that are coming out. And I'm on Twitter all the time. Yeah, Twitter is almost like another job for me because it's another outlet for me to just kind of discuss movies with people and talking a lot about the summer slate now. And so, I just do a lot of different things.
So there's a lot to your job, but it's not the worst job in the world.
No, I love it. I mean, if I was if like 12-year-old me was having a conversation right now with me, they'd be like, you did it, man. Like, this good. That's where I feel like I'd want to be.
As a fanboy myself, it's the ultimate. And I think that's partly why I'm in the entertainment arena with working in radio and then doing this thing on Friday night. I just love talking to movies. And this show on Friday night has really turned into kind of a discussion about movies. I talk to a lot of filmmakers, and it's been so nice. And you might run into this. It's tough getting the actors, but you can easily get a filmmaker to come on and talk about their film. They're very excited to talk about their films.
Yeah, I always tell people, because they're always like, who's the biggest celebrity you met, or who's the best interview? And I'll entertain that, and we'll talk about some of those celebrities. But for me, it's the filmmakers. Like, that's always what I nerd out about. Those are always the conversations that I want to have. Like, if they're like, Erik, there's like an hour conversation at with this director, would you want to moderate it? I'm like, hell yeah. Like, that's the kind of stuff that I like, because an actor or an actress in a film can only take the conversation so far, right? But the filmmaker is really involved in every aspect of that production from the minute it begins. And so I always find that you get a much richer conversation. And also, actors and actresses don't know what they can say, what they can't say. Can I spoil this? Can I say that? And a filmmaker sort of feels like they have more freedom to talk openly about the entirety of a production. And I always enjoy those conversations.
If you can get a hold of a B-list celebrity or a celebrity from yesterday, those are good conversations too. I had Keith Coogan on a couple weeks ago, and well, I can say that he was drunk because he was drinking from a bottle of Jack Daniels through the whole interview. It was something. Oh my God. But those are fun. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like a real person. They open themselves up. But somebody like, as much as I'd love to talk to Ben Affleck, I don't know how much you'd get out of a guy like that.
Yeah. Ben Affleck actually of late has been a bit more open. He was going through his struggles with alcohol addiction and what have you. So he's actually been a lot more open. This last round of press that he was doing for The Way Back, that basketball movie that he did, he was having some pretty open, honest conversation. So I think it depends on when you catch somebody. But yeah, I mean, a lot of these young actors coming up, I love talking to them. My kids are always like, did you talk to the kid from Stranger Things? Or did you talk to, they're like, that they just want me to talk to whoever's got the biggest TikTok following right now. But the veteran, it always feels like they've been there, they've done it, and they have the stories to tell. The younger kids right now, I think they're scared because they don't know how much they're allowed to say and what they can say, and they have an entire career in front of them, and they don't want to jeopardize any aspect of that. And so the veteran, though, especially if you get a veteran who's been drinking a little bit. I remember I did like a 40-minute conversation once with Kurt Russell for one of his movies at like the Toronto Film Festival, and he had a cold and he was sick and he didn't want to do interviews all day. But like, we had such an awesome, honest conversation in that setting. And so yeah, I mean, those veterans, they don't care anymore. They'll tell you the stories and they'll go at it, and that's always a fun time.
Yeah, from what I understand about him, you could walk up to him at a restaurant, end up best friends by the end of the night. Yeah,
Kurt Russell. Yeah, like when people say like, give me your best, the best people, like the coolest celebrities. I would say Kurt Russell's up there. Steve Carell is awesome dude. Those are the kinds of guys, those veterans who've been through every aspect of this industry, and they're just like, "Are you cool? Cool. I'm cool. Let's just be cool with each other and talk like normal people." That's always good.
Have you seen Eat Wheaties yet?
No, I have not.
Tony Hale's in it, all-star cast. People you would recognize from sitcoms. Great cast. I can't wait to talk to Scott. What have you seen recently? What's good? What should we be looking out for?
Well, after this, I'm going to watch that new Mortal Kombat movie, and so I'm going to probably have a couple more of these drinks. Then I'm going to watch the Mortal Kombat movie. I'm actually looking forward to that. I was saving it for tonight. So I'm going to see that. The Godzilla versus Kong movie I saw, which I dug. I think that movie arrived at a perfect time when people like we haven't gotten these big movies, like they just haven't been around because everything's been postponed. And so, that movie sort of, I think, arrived at a time when people were kind of getting vaccinated, climbing back out of this thing, going back to theaters. And it was just like the perfect movie theater blockbuster kind of entertainment that people were waiting for and had been itching for. So I watched that. I like that. I've enjoyed that. There's a crazy vampire movie out this week called Jacob's Wife that I like, starring Barbara Crampton, who's a horror veteran. And speaking of veterans, she's a legend, I think, and she's really awesome, good people. So I would promote that film. I like that film. But I'm watching some smaller stuff. Obviously, the Oscars are a week from Sunday, so I've been sort of revisiting some of those films and the Best Picture nominees. Many of them are now available. You can watch them at home. So I've been revisiting some of that stuff and really kind of getting ready for summer, watching a couple of those May movies, watching some of those June movies. I'm finally allowed to talk about In the Heights, which I loved.
I saw your piece about that. You loved that movie, didn't you?
I love that movie. I'm a born and raised New Yorker, and so whenever it's a New York movie, I always kind of lean in a bit more and pay more attention because it's very near and dear to my heart. And New York City is a city of neighborhoods. And the neighborhood movies are always my favorite. And In the Heights is just one of the best New York City neighborhood movies I think that's ever been made. And I love it. I think the music's fantastic. I think the themes in it are fantastic. And I think it really honors a part of New York City that has not been featured in as many big movies as it probably should have previously. So really excited about that film. I think it's going to be one of the bigger crowd pleasers that we see come out this summer.
Have you been going to the theater, the actual theater, to watch movies, or like something like Godzilla and Kong? I watched at home, probably obviously better on the big screen. Did you see that at the theater?
I did. I'm vaxxed now, man. I'm full vaxxed. I'm on the double shot. I'm 2 weeks past. I'm all vaxxed up. So I'm ready. I'm ready and to go and do anything. So yeah, I watched Godzilla vs. Kong first at home. And then I went and my son had a birthday party and we did a birthday party at a theater. You can rent out theaters, actually. Yeah. It's not as expensive, I think, as people think. So we rented out a theater, watched Godzilla vs. Kong. And it's hard when you get screening links for a year and you don't have to like travel in to see a movie. Yeah. So I'm a bit like, you could keep sending me the links, but with these big movies coming out soon, I'm definitely going to go see them on the big screen. And I'll be back in theaters, and I think I feel a sense of responsibility, working for Fandango and wanting to make sure that I'm vaccinated and I can be back in theaters so I can tell people what that experience is like and if they have any questions. And so, that means a lot to me, and so I'm going to make sure I do that.
I went a couple weeks ago to see Long Weekend, Steve Bastiglione. It's a small flick. Yeah. But it was nice to be in the theater, but it was a ghost town. I felt like I was actually in like a zombie movie, hiding out in a movie theater. It was an AMC. It was kind of run down. One of the letters was broken. And it was kind of an odd experience after a year. And the last movie I saw was The Last Jedi. The Rise of Skywalker.
Oh, yeah.
The last one, yeah. Yeah, so that was December of 2019. Geez. Yeah, so it's been some time. But I always love, there was a time where I was going once a week, so I do miss that experience. Do you think we'll get back to, and I think theaters were already having a hard time before the pandemic, and this just made it worse. Do you think we'll get back to that time where we're going to the theater and we don't want that experience at home? I'm kind of liking the experience at home, to be honest.
I do. I think we're going to get back to a time when, and we'll get a taste of it this summer, and then I think we'll really get a much larger taste of it this fall. I sort of, from Memorial Day on, I kind of call the rest of this year an endless summer. Yeah. Because even into the fall, because so many of these big movies have been postponed, and they're sort of sitting alongside the movies that were already coming out in 2021, and so. You're really going to get from the end of May through the end of the year, it's going to feel like an endless summer. It's going to feel like there's a big movie coming out every week. Yeah. And it's going to feel like it felt before the pandemic. And so that's really when we can kind of get a sense of, okay, how are we kind of receiving this experience back into our lives? I've been seeing that a lot of people are itching to get out. They want to get out of the house. They want to return to some of these things that they haven't done in over a year. They want to go to a concert. They want to go to a baseball game. They want to go to a movie. They want to go to a restaurant. I know people that haven't even, I think where you are and where I am, it has been a bit different in terms of how the virus has been received, and in New York, it's been taken very seriously. And I have neighbors that haven't gone out to a restaurant in over a year. And so I think there's a lot of people that you don't realize haven't done anything. Even if you are in a state where it's been a bit more open than it has been elsewhere, and you've gone to the restaurants and you've gone this, understand that there are a lot of people in this country that have not done any of that for over a year. Yeah. And so I think there is a lot of pent up energy to experience things outside of the house again. That being said, I think watching movies and TV shows at home is not going to go away. If anything, you're going to get more content. Netflix is just going to get bigger, and your Amazons and your Apples and your HBO Maxes. I mean, that's not Disney Plus. That's all staying, and that's not going anywhere. Yeah. You may see movies arrive at home sooner than they used to arrive at home. And then it'll be your decision. There'll be movies that you say, I have to go watch this in the theater. And there'll be movies that you say, you know what, I'm going to wait 2 months and rent this at home. And I think that people are going to appreciate having that option. And I would always say, support your local art community, support your local theaters, because I think that if there's anything this pandemic taught us, it's that when we remove these pastimes out of our lives, we really miss them. And we realize that we did take them for granted. And so I think in order for it to continue being a part of your life, support your local community and support the people that are running the movie theaters in your community.
All right, one last question, and we were talking about movies that have been shelved for quite some time. Two of them I can think of offhand: Maverick and Ghostbusters Afterlife. I think we've been watching trailers for those for at least 3 or 4 years now. It feels like that long. It's been some time since Maverick was. I think Maverick was supposed to be out in the summer last year.
It was supposed to be out last summer. Yeah, I think it was like the 4th of July film last summer, and then Ghostbusters was also July of last summer, I believe.
Have you seen those yet? I know they're just sitting there. Did they allow you to watch those movies?
No. Not yet. I was getting close to Top Gun Maverick when it was coming out on July 2nd. I was getting close to like a potential screening in May, but then that movie just got moved to November. So I don't know when I'm going to be watching it. But yeah, the good news is that you get both of those a couple of weeks apart, really, in November. Yeah. So they're both still coming out, and a lot of people are like, "Oh, that's been postponed for too long. I'm not looking forward to it anymore." And it's like the movie still exists. And we're looking forward to it at some point in time.
Same movie.
It's the same movie. So I think that I post this release schedule. I'm constantly updating the release schedule and posting it on Twitter. And this a couple of days ago, I posted it and it went viral for the first time. I think a lot of people were like, "Oh my God!" Like all of these movies. People are starting to think about going to the movie theaters again. And now here's this schedule of all the movies coming out, and all of a sudden there's this awakening in culture of people being like, "Oh my God, I'm going to go back and look at everything that's coming out." So I think that there is going to be this bit of awakening that happens, and it's going to turn more positive. I feel, and really look from Memorial Day forward is what I'm really looking forward to, and I'm hoping to get back into the theater again on a regular basis and see some cool stuff.
Good. Well, when summer hits, let's talk again.
Yeah.
Once we're sure that these movies will be opening when they say they're going to be opening, we'll talk again. Now, where can people find your stuff, your interviews, your writings, all that stuff? Where is there a fandango.com/Erik Davis?
Follow me on Twitter at Erik with a K Davis. A lot of what I do on everything I do, I put on Twitter. So follow me there. You can follow me on Instagram at This Is Erik Davis. Some stuff finds its way over there as well. And then just, go to Fandango and use Fandango. We also own Vudu now. So if you buy or rent movies at home through Vudu, know that it's part of the Fandango family. Rotten Tomatoes is also part of our family too. I just hosted a conversation for Rotten Tomatoes. So, follow all of us and you'll see our stuff come up.
All right, brother. Great to talk to you again.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much for having me.
All right. Cheers.
Cheers to you.
Take care.
Take care, man.
That is Erik Davis from Fandango.com. Great guy. Love talking to him every 4 or 5 or 6 months. This double IPA is amazing, by the way. All right. Very excited to talk to this individual as well. First of all, let me say hi to everybody who's watching, or everyone that's commenting at least. Hi, Kathy. Hey, Joe. What'd you say? Okay. I was talking about the T-shirts, the dive bar T-shirts. Joe's a member. Kathy thinks they're great. I know. It's so cool. Can we get a tradesman shirt in the rotation with dive bar T-shirts? Let's see if we can do that. Hey, Raylene. Hey, Pressman. Pressman's watching. What's up, Pressman? And I know you know Dale, so this is very exciting to have you watching for my next guest. Mark, what's up, brother? How you doing, Mark? Julie, hello. And I know Jay's in the wings waiting. So this guy has got the best pastries on the Cape. And I have a picture. Hold on. I'm trying to find it right now. There it is. All right. So not just pastries, but look on the left there, you've got the biggest chocolate chip muffin, almost as big as your head. And I'm not lying. I know people say that like it's as big as your head, but it is literally. I've measured them on the right. And that's not the perfect representation of a Woolfie's sandwich, breakfast sandwich. But the sandwiches are amazing in there. And then right in the middle, you're saying, oh, okay, that's a coffee. I've seen coffee before. Everyone's got coffee. That coffee right there has coffee ice cubes. It's not water ice cubes. They're coffee ice cubes. You can only find that at Woolfie's. He also owns Cape and Plymouth business media. And we'll talk to Dale about that a little bit more because I have a kind of an understanding of what he does there, but I know he's Mr. Cape. So let's bring in Dale here. Dale, what's happening, man? How are you?
Hey, I'm doing great. How are you?
Good to see you. Cheers. Happy Friday night.
Cheers. Happy Friday. It's Friday, right? I don't even know.
All right. So first of all, tell me about Cape and Plymouth business media. What do you guys do?
I noticed you were a little hesitant, and it's a hard name to say, but that is correct.
Did I get it right? Okay.
Cape and Plymouth Business Media. I didn't come up with the name, but I'd say, we are the only business-focused media company, Cape, Plymouth, South Shore, South Coast. So we kind of, we're hyper-focused on Cape Cod and Plymouth, and then our audience kind of spans out from there. We really serve a geography that Worcester, Boston, and Providence kind of overlook.
Yep.
And we just focus on business news. So anything from the bigger companies that operate in our area, hospitals, infrastructure, nonprofits, down to, the Clean Acre that I'm drinking my limoncello out of right now. So, and we look for anything interesting in the business community, and we promote it, and we welcome anyone who wants to write content for us. We generate content to help businesses with marketing, finance, leadership, anything related to business. And sometimes we just do fun stuff where we go and take a picture and say, hey, this is a business you should check out.
Awesome. And every area needs a business like yours to support them, especially during the pandemic. We've learned chambers and business councils and media conglomerates like yourself really need to step up and help local businesses because they've all been suffering over the last year. Clean Acre still alive, right? They're still there.
Yeah, they had a momentary shutdown, but they're back open now, and they're really busy.
They're right down the street from you at Wolfie's.
Yeah, I can see them, and I can smell the smoker when I crack the windows. But we've got a lot of great places down here. La Scala's open now. Sand Dollar relocated; they're open. Yep. Paradise and Good Friends Cafe, they kind of stayed open through this whole thing. So people are definitely starting to open up. There's definitely a high level of seasonality here, but some of the year-round folks, I think they made it. Good. At least they appeared to have made it. I don't know what is left up here for anyone who's gone through this, but you know what I mean.
Well, how did it go for you, being the owner of Woolfie's? I know you're seasonal.
Yep,
But
we had
last summer must have been tough.
we had a great year. Last year I was definitely afraid of COVID, and I'll skip the politics of this whole situation.
Yep.
I was definitely afraid. I thought if I went outside and took a breath, I'd catch COVID. We almost didn't open. And I talked to some friends of mine in the healthcare industry, kind of came up with a game plan. We put a poll on our website, and 2,000 people responded within the first day on Facebook.
Wow.
And they were like, we want to come. So, we did what we thought was safe for the staff and for people coming, and I didn't really care what people thought. My goal was to make them feel safe.
Yep.
Meaning I didn't care about the politics of what was
Sure.
happening, the whole mask, no mask thing. I was just like, look, we have to care about the most cautious people. We put a lot of really safe guidelines in place, and we had a great year. Great year. We probably made 30% more food than the year before.
Well, yeah, I don't know when I was there, but it was during the summer at one point, and you guys really had it down. And you've got a staff that really cares about what they do as well, which is rare for some local businesses, and especially a seasonal business. But you really do such a great job training your staff and making them want to be there. That's a big deal.
Thanks. I appreciate that comment. We really take it to heart. I always say, I didn't wake up in the morning to give someone a bad experience. I didn't wake up in the morning to take someone's money and not give them a great experience. And, we explain this to the staff, and they definitely care. And I always say, Woolfie's is like a sports team, right? It's like a baseball team. We have 14 positions. We need a great first baseman. We need a great second baseman. Everyone has a really key position to play. And unfortunately, if you're not doing your best on that team, you're hurting the whole team, and they get that here, which is really great for someone who's 14, 15. You've seen our staff, 16.
Oh, yeah.
It's really great that they can absorb that and put it into action.
Yeah.
We have our mistakes, but I think, we start well trained. And then, and the other thing I say is, I don't want to babble on about this. I would say we can have a bad game, but we can't have a bad season.
Oh, there you go. I totally appreciate that. And I know Sunday school right down the street used to be the place to work. At least when I was growing up, that's where everybody wanted to work. But I feel like Woolfie's is probably right up there with Sunday school now, as far as likability as a teenager needing a job for the summer. So you must get a ton of resumes and job applications.
Yeah, we do. We get about 100 a year.
Wow.
The trouble we face is, people have sports and things to do. We need people that can work through Labor Day. A lot of kids go back to college the middle of August. A lot of kids can't start till July 4th, and that's hard for us. That leaves real big gaps. That's like your starter pitcher can only play half of the season. Yeah. So that's the tough part for us. The other tough thing is a lot of these kids are under 18, and as you know, we open at 7. Yeah. Which means a lot of the staff can't get here till 7, and we start at 4 a.m. Oof. So that's a tough spot for us. We do try to bring in students on J1 visas, which helps. We had, they fill a great big gap for us. Last year they didn't come, which made it really hard. This year, hopefully they will come. And, they don't take jobs from our kids. They really fill a need that, who wants to get up at 4 a.m. and work for 6 months out of the year? Yeah. It's a really hard job to fill. So they're also a really integral part of a lot of the businesses around here.
I get up at 4 a.m. for 12 months out of the year, and that's difficult.
Well, if you're going to make a career out of it, I think it's different. But to ask someone, like, who am I going to sometimes I get like testy in the summer. I'm tired, and someone will say something, and I was like, look, Emerald was busy this summer. So I got a 14-year-old kid here pouring coffee, and of course I don't mean it that way, but that's the reality. Like, who's going to come here? We're getting who we get. Yeah. Right? So we make the best of it.
Well, here in Milford, we love Dennisport. I grew up vacationing in Dennisport, but Dennisport has become known in this area, at least, as Little Milford. We have so many of the Milfordians that vacation there, and I know many of them. I just wanted to, a couple people want to say hi. Joe wants to say hi.
Hey, Joe.
And Kathy wants to say hi.
Hey, Kathy.
I know Jake from Motorboat. You're friends with Jake, so he's a local guy as well. Scott McGill, I think another guy that vacations down that area.
Yeah, Milford to Worcester, there's a lot of folks. A lot of folks from that area.
It's really fun. I feel like because I vacation there as a kid, and my aunt still has a cottage there. As a matter of fact, my uncle does too on Holiday Lane. It's
okay.
Right down the street from you. And
right down the street.
Goes there all the time. But I feel like, it's our home away from home. And I thank you. And Don, my friend Don, loves Dennisport. Lots of fond memories there as well. So we all own a little piece of Dennisport, and we certainly appreciate what you do. Kathy, I lived in the Cape for 10 years and saw the staffing for summers. They fill a need. Locals do not want to work. Absolutely, Kathy. And I worked there in radio for about 2 years. So I saw the winters and I saw the summers on the Cape, and it's actually kind of fascinating. So Dale, because you have the media network, the Cape and Plymouth business media, hesitating again. Sorry. I want to talk about some other aspects of the Cape that we can look forward to this summer. Sure. Last year, I went to Hyannis. They had the barriers up, so they only had one lane going down Main Street. I loved it. I thought it was amazing. I thought they did a great job. How's this summer going to be downtown Hyannis? What are your thoughts about that? That's
a great question. So, we're actually doing a project with the Hyannis Chamber right now for their digital guidebook. For their, the guidebooks that you see around, you go in a restaurant, you can pick it up. And I could tell you that whole community, like firsthand, I'm seeing they're really putting a lot into, following guidelines, making it convenient and easy for people. It's going to be very similar. There's going to be barcodes going down the street that you can scan with your phone, see who's open, see what they're doing, check out. The events are going to be probably a lot more limited this year.
Yep.
The chamber is going to announce and have a calendar of events that folks can look up. You can look it up on your phone, or obviously if you're from home doing research, they're going to have a listing of all those events. I think some of the bigger events we're probably not going to see. Definitely the outside ones, like every once in a while they have stuff at like in that Kmart Plaza.
Yep.
I think some of those will still go on, but we were talking about this. When you ask people what they love about Cape Cod, like this isn't a place you come to. It's not like York that has like a zoo and a little carnival thing. And this is a different, people like to come here and relax.
Yep.
They like the beach. They like to go out to eat and get a beer. They like to go shopping, maybe do some antiquing, go to those places they went to when they were a kid. You're going to be able to do all of that or most of that this summer. And the towns have been really, I don't want to say gracious. They've been really open-minded about helping the businesses to expand a little bit more. Like right now, if you go down, you drive around, you can see businesses, piles of wood, people are building decks, they're pouring patios. Great. Yeah, there's a lot of things going on. I don't want to say this negatively, but like one of my things that I don't like about the Cape is we're very narrow-minded about expanding. So
again, little Milford here in Dennisport, we are the same way in Milford. We are so scared of expanding. So when you say that, it just connects us even more. It's crazy.
Yeah, like you go to Newport, right? There's a million places you can walk around the water in Newport, and they have art exhibits and playgrounds and cool stuff. Here it's like, oh no, don't do that. Leave that tree. We know it's dead and it's going to start a fire someday, but don't touch it. It's like, at some point we have to let people do these things. Like we should be eating outside, not just confined to these spaces all the time. And I'm really happy that, they're expanding their horizons a little bit and and the businesses, I think too, they're starting to get it that, what worked 20 years ago, it's nice to be nostalgic, but sometimes, we have to evolve a little bit. We have to keep our roots, but we do have to evolve a little bit and accommodate some things that people want.
Yeah.
Right. So that's what I'm trying to say.
Do you think that after 2 summers of the barricades on Hyannis downtown, that we didn't have that before? Now, as a kid, I remember for some reason walking up and down Main Street, they may have closed it off on a Friday or Saturday night, but those are the memories I have. Do you think that once this is all clear, everything's done, that some of these towns might adopt or keep some of the guidelines that have been in place since the pandemic? Maybe Main Street will be closed off. Maybe they will just close a lane in the summer. Do you think that's possible?
I think it's possible. You know, I heard a rumor that they made folks take away the outside dining in Hyannis. And then like on the last day or the day after, they extended it. But a lot of businesses had already taken it down, which is unfortunate. I can't confirm that story. This is, you know, you hear a lot of things.
Sure, yeah.
I think, you know, I think businesses have to push back, you know, and we have to do it legally. We have to work with our towns and our local, you know, representatives to really position this as, you know, I always think about Worcester, right? If you know the story about Mass Pike and Worcester, Worcester didn't want the pike coming. So the pike actually went around Worcester. And then what happened? Places like Milford and Hopkinton and Upton grew because they had access to that infrastructure. I think we need to let our businesses do these little things so that they can expand. I'm not saying that people won't come to Cape Cod anymore. We won't grow, but I think the businesses, we have to unite. We have to position, you know, reasonable solutions to keeping these really cool things we have now.
Yeah.
Whether they will or not, I don't know. If they have a good summer and make money and they're tired, maybe nothing will happen. But I'm hopeful that some people will, you know, kind of band together to make it happen.
Well, yeah, I agree with you. And that's happening in our area. There are places that had the makeshift outdoor dining, and the town has said, okay, well, we're going to have to get rid of that at some point. But why? It was amazing. If we can do this after the pandemic, we have more people going out supporting local business. I love being outdoors, you know.
A lot of it comes down to safety. So I have a great deal of respect for our town government and our Board of Health, but they're dealing with things like, you know, a fly lands in someone's food and then they get food poisoning. You know what I mean? It's like, we have to, you know, I love Key West, right? You go to Key West, no helmets, golf carts down the street, drinking down the street, fireworks. We don't allow that in Massachusetts because, you know, one person got hurt probably driving a golf cart down the road, and you can't have them anymore, right? So, you know, I don't know. I'm hopeful that it will change a little bit. We have to have some kind of what's the word? Civilized, you know, behavior.
Yeah.
While
someday maybe we'll get fireworks. Someday, I don't know, we'll eat outside more often. But Dale, thank you so much. Woolfie's in Dennisport. I don't have to tell anybody about that. It's a landmark. Everybody loves it. And Cape and Plymouth Business Media. Boom, 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 boom. See, I did that real fast.
Yeah, you're good. With every sip, you get it comes out a little easier.
Yeah. You can find all that on Facebook and Twitter and obviously Google and see what Dale's doing in the community. He does such a great job. And as summer gets closer, let's have this conversation again. I love the Cape. And again, so many of our viewers vacation on the Cape. So let's do this every couple months.
Okay, great. Thanks for having me. It was really nice to see you again.
Brother, good to see you again, too. Take care.
All right. Bye, everyone. Thanks.
Bye. That's Dale's great. I love him. And Woolfie's is amazing. You know, the size of your head, I really mean it. All right, let's get to our next guest here. And I want to play a trailer here. So I got to do this. All right, watch this.
I feel bad because I brought you to a place that I feel comfortable with on our first date.
First dates are always weird.
My cat's just sweat when I'm nervous.
Feel my hands.
Oh, your hands are sweaty. Do you want to stay over or?
I got my dogs out.
Ooh, let your dogs out.
Do you want me to bark?
No. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Sid, Tom's brother. You can yell at him all you want, much like his wife Janet does.
He pushes my buttons.
I idolized him.
When you say it like that, it makes me feel bad for him.
You are the co-chair. The Penn reunion, isn't that cool?
All of our coordinating will be done on Facebook. You need to get on social media pronto.
The whole world is online.
Tell me about it. I even got my law degree online.
Did I ever tell you that I was friends with someone famous in college?
She's a pitch perfect actress.
You were friends with Elizabeth Banks?
Yes!
And she knows who you are?
Yeah. I mean, I think she does. Dear Elizabeth, I just remembered something you used to do in college. You would wave and you would say, "Eat Wheaties!" Dear Elizabeth, random, but do you remember I was in that comedy improv troupe, Booty and the Whole Fish? Do you remember when we took Eat Wheaties? Eat Wheaties. Eat Wheaties.
Who's Sid Straw?
He says he's a close acquaintance of Elizabeth Banks.
There is no such thing.
He's writing crazy posts on Elizabeth Banks' fan page.
They went viral. What does that mean?
It means a lot of people saw it.
You have been fired from your job, removed from a volunteer position, and publicly mocked for your celebrity obsession.
He also just moved in with his parents.
I don't know if that was necessary. No. Stop trying so hard with everything.
This is not about Elizabeth Banks. This is about me, confident about who I am and what I've become.
I like your optimism.
You gave a wedgie to Sharon Stone?
It's my claim to fame.
Do you like keep in touch with her and stuff?
No, she's Sharon Stone.
That movie looks fantastic, and at the end you see also starring, and a movie like that, I think, is so successful because of the side players, the side characters. Tony Hale is amazing, but the support that he gets from that cast is fantastic. Let's bring in the writer and director of that movie, and because I don't want to screw up your last name, I'm going to say, Scott, you tell me how to pronounce your last name.
It's pronounced Abramovitch.
Abramovitch, I was going to say that. Okay. Scott, welcome to the show.
Thanks, and nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. So my friend Tim said, "Hey, have you seen the trailer for Eat Wheaties?" This morning, and I'm like, "No, I haven't seen it." So I looked it up right away as we were talking and watched it. Fell in love, automatically. I love Tony Hale, and I was just talking about the cast, the also starring cast. Amazing supporting cast in this movie.
Yeah, it's as a first time. It's not a first time filmmaker, but it's the first time I'm directing, and to have this kind of cast is like you dream of this.
So, how did this cast come about? We'll talk about Tony later, but I really want to talk about some of these side characters because every time I watch a movie, I'm usually entertained by the guy who was just there for 10 or 15 minutes. Somebody I recognize from TV or the movies that I love. Ravi Patel is one of those guys that pops up here and there. I'm like, oh my God, this movie is just awesome because Ravi's in it. How do you get these people? Is it the casting? Is it your genius?
Well, that's a good question.
Go ahead. And
we did have a great casting director, Lisa London, and she's got a partner, Catherine, who, they were definitely the facilitators. I think, casting is a weird thing. I mean, it happened on my first film in a similar way. When you get somebody in the lead that everyone else wants to work with, it suddenly opens up the possibilities of who the rest of your cast can be. So, you start with the lead, and when you start with Tony Hale, I think you're in a sweet spot where everyone you go to is going to be excited to work with them. So that was, I think the first step was, getting Tony to say yes. So even though we're not talking about Tony, I think it all kind of comes back to Tony in a certain way.
I suppose if you put a movie together with Gary Busey, he's a nice guy, but he's absolutely crazy. You might not have people coming out of the woodwork that wants to work with Gary Busey, but Tony Hale, on the other hand.
Yeah, it's Gary Busey. I kind of worked with him once, not directly, but I worked on a project that he was involved with called Prayer Hour, which was a lot of fun. And he, I heard stories from the days that he was on. It's about a televangelist who, who's not quite the most honest guy. And when he taped with Gary Busey, he's kind of like, he's in character. It's kind of like Borat, and Gary Busey just goes off, and the interview is brilliant. But even afterwards, Don, who plays Pastor Shepard, he just wasn't sure, was this real, or was he really angry? And I don't know if you ever know with Gary Busey.
Right.
Tony,
Well, tell me about Tony Hale then. Tell me about working with Tony Hale. We see him as, from Arrested Development. We know that character, and Veep, of course. And he plays a certain character from time to time, although I've seen him take a turn to the dark side in a few projects. But I think we know Tony is being sweet. Actually, he's just the character of Sid String, right? Strong, yes. Sid Strong in this movie. Talk about Tony, working with him, his personality, his acceptance of this movie, and what he got out of this. Some actors, I think, take the job because it's a paycheck. I want to know if that was Tony's case or if this was something he really gained something from.
I think from Tony's perspective, and I hate to speak for Tony, but I from my perception of Tony's what he felt when he read the script was that I think he saw a role that combines, I think, the thing that everyone knows him for, which is being kind of quirky and different and interesting, but at the same time, being at the center in a way that character gets to kind of be honest and genuine and grounded in ways that, not to say that Buster and Gary from Arrested Development and Gary from Veep aren't grounded, but they're certainly less grounded, I think, than the people at the center of it. Particularly on Veep, where Julie Louis-Dreyfus, I think, gets to kind of play a more well, actually, I shouldn't say that because she's not quite three-dimensional, but I think that with this character, with Sid Straw, it was something that allowed Tony to flex a muscle that he's flexed before in plenty of movies and TV shows, but I think he got to flex all of his muscles at the same time, which is exciting and scary. I'm sure, where, he's in pretty much every scene in the movie. I think there's like 3 or 4 scenes that he's not in. And I also think, the whole process of casting, and we can get back to the supporting roles, he was really collaborative from a standpoint of getting the script as strong as it could be, but also was really invested in helping find, the right people to put around him. So he gave his input on most of the roles that we cast. The thing that I was looking for this movie, was that I love when a movie has actors the same way you were describing, where you see somebody and you know that even in a minute or 2 minutes of screen time, that they bring so much more to it than that. And so I literally picked and chose my favorite people in some of my favorite projects and had them, had Lisa go out to them. And I mean, literally, the only role that we didn't get our first choice of the main supporting roles was actually the role that I think is the best cast in the film, which is Paul Walter Hauser, who I never thought he would say yes. Frankly, I mean, it was one of those things where we had an actor who we loved. And he said yes, but we just could never figure out the schedule, because he was out doing stand-up dates on the weekends, and that was the locations that we had for that character we needed to use them on the weekend. So we just couldn't. We tried to make it work, and we waited up until the last minute, which was literally the movie started shooting, and we're like, okay, he's not coming. And so I said, well, wouldn't it be great if we could get Paul Walter Hauser for this? And I didn't have too high of expectation, but we did. And Paul was in Michigan, and he flew himself back to LA on his own dime, and came in while we're shooting. And just, from the second he stepped onto the set, he created an energy that was just so incredible. Not that Tony doesn't have that energy, but Tony. Sure. Yeah, Tony, was not as much of a live wire. Paul is like, everybody's just, waiting to laugh at every take. You're just kind of like holding it in. You're holding it in because that character, I think, was also allowing itself for that. Every moment he's on screen, I think, is full of energy. Where Tony had this range of up and down, sort of a roller coaster emotional character arc. Paul is funny, I think, in every scene that you see him. So.
Paul did a great job with the Richard Jewell movie with Clint Eastwood's movie there, and then he was Stingray in Cobra Kai, which was a total turn. But I think he's really an up and coming actor, somebody that we should really watch out for. And I mean, based on the trailer there, he sounds fantastic in this film. So I made a list. I started making a short list of everyone that's in this movie based on the trailer again, because that's all I've seen so far. Movie comes out at the end of the month, right?
Yeah, April 30th.
Okay, so I started making a list, and then it just kept going on and on and on. Seriously, some of my favorite TV and movie actors, Alan Tudyk. And then just give me a few words about all these people. Alan Tudyk.
Well, Alan Tudyk was the funniest performer in the, he was only there for a few days, but in those scenes, he was the guy who went off script in the best way possible. I mean, we really didn't have much time to shoot this movie. So when, we didn't really have time for much improvisation, but man, everything that came out of his mouth was hysterical. So every time you see him on screen, and I'm a huge fan of Firefly, and you see the voice work that he does also, beyond
Rogue One. My God, he's so good in Rogue One.
Oh yeah, and so you see, that there's a comedic genius there and he's got his own show now, which is great too.
Oh my God, Resident Alien.
Yeah, brilliant. It's perfect. It's a perfect vehicle for his talents.
Yes, Alicia Cuthbert.
She was the second person we cast. The challenge of telling the story, I think, from a casting perspective, is that. The Sid Straw as a main character is, I think, unique. I mean, typically you see characters like Sid in films, but they're typically the strange friend or the strange brother, and they're there for comedic relief. So here we're building a movie around that guy who's kind of his own worst enemy, but just because he can't connect with other people. So his brother, who's played by David Walton, and sister-in-law, who's played by Alicia, they were really important. I wanted to cast people who normally you'd imagine as being the leads of let's say this was a studio romantic comedy. Alicia and Dave Walton, you felt we needed to feel like they would be the typical centers of it. So getting her to say yes was just amazing, and she plays sort of the foil. It's not really present in the trailer as much, but Sid is a guy who the only person he really connects with is his brother, but his brother's wife, played by Alicia, just can't stand him. So her role was the most challenging, I think, from a tone perspective, to make sure that we get it right, and she was fantastic.
David Walton was on my list as well.
Yeah.
Happy Endings is one of my favorite TV shows. And David Walton pops up on all of those TV shows, New Girl, and another one of my favorites. And speaking of New Girl, Lamorne Morris, you had who played Winston on New Girl, one of my favorite characters of all time.
Yeah, Lamorne was so gracious to do this film. He only also was there for a couple of days, and it's funny, he doesn't even speak in the trailer. That was the role that in editing there were actually two. There's an actor, I don't know if you watched Orphan Black, but his name's Christian Brune, who plays one of the husbands on Orphan Black. He's also in Ready or Not. He's brilliant also. But Christian and Lamorne had a subplot in the film that got just cut down just because of tone, which was, the tone of this movie was so important to find the center of, this guy who you clearly see is making other people uncomfortable and just they're not getting him. And those were two of the characters that worked with him that just didn't get him. But we realized that too much of that was too much. So Lamorne's still in the movie. Lamorne's still in the movie. Christian has been pretty much cut out. But Lamorne was, the comedy that those guys, David Walton too. I mean, the comedy experience that these guys had, it just made my job so much easier in the limited time we had, knowing that these guys would just, they were pros. They don't miss.
I'm gonna narrow down my list. I have at least 12 or 15 people on this list. It's basically your whole cast. I was just watching Big Sky. I just binged that with my wife. So you had Kylie Bunbury from Big Sky in the movie as well.
Kylie was exceptional. Also, a small role. She plays opposite Robbie Amell, who I don't know if he's on your list. He's actually not.
He is, yeah.
He's not even in the trailer, which is like, you know, that's how deep this cast goes. It's like these amazing people. You know, his show Upload is fantastic, and he's just amazing. My favorite moment in the movie is a Robbie Amell throwaway line. It was a throwaway line that he gets so. It makes me laugh every time I see it. By
the way, Scott, that's what I love about these types of movies is that you can find somebody like Robbie Amell who's going to make that one line stick in everyone's minds throughout like an hour and a half movie, and you remember Robbie Amell, who has a small part, but that line was amazing. Absolutely.
And Kylie too, you know, Kylie's scenes are a little bit more tension built than some of the other people who got to kind of like Lamorne got to come in and play with the fun parts of the story, and Alan Tudyk especially was like that. Kylie had a more dramatic-ish, tension-ish kind of feel to her scenes. So she didn't get to do as much of the of some of the fun moments in her time, but she's exceptional. She was in that show Pitch, which I absolutely loved.
Yeah.
And knowing, you know, to get her to say yes to this role was like, you know, not just for me, for my kids. You know, they were playing in a softball league, and when Pitch came out, she was the grand marshal of their parade.
Wow.
We got to meet her actually when, you know, this is when Pitch was on the air.
Yeah.
And so, you know, getting her into the film, I think was so exciting for them as well.
I mean, just a legend, Mimi Kennedy.
Oh,
she's fantastic as well.
So Mimi and Phil, those were, I gotta give Tony Hale credit for both of those. You know, he had worked with Mimi and with Phil Reeves, who plays the dad. She was so great. She's so great. And there's one scene where it's sad because it got trimmed down so drastically in editing, but she's making a breakfast lasagna, which was, you know, something that was in the book that it was actually it was in the book. It was like a throwaway thing. I loved it. And just watching her, you know, we're watching Sid kind of do this post, and she's in the background baking, and she does not ever take a second off, even if the camera's not focused on her. She was amazing. I think it's all gone from the final cut, but I enjoy it. You know, when you watch a movie so many times in editing, sometimes the things that you kind of are drawn to are the little things like that, where it's not even the center of the story or the center of the what you're watching. But yeah, Mimi is a pro's pro.
I think on the oh my, that's funny. My buddy just said this as I was thinking it. It needs to be on the director's cut. I think her baking.
You know, it's funny. The first cut of this movie. So this is based on a book called the Locklear Letters, written by Michael Kuhn, who's a brilliant writer. And I got to know him over the time of development. And you know, throughout shooting, he was on set a lot. It's funny how you know, I showed him the first cut of the movie, which was probably 25 minutes longer, and he loved it. He's like, "Don't change a thing." And it's like, as much as I would love that longer version of the movie, I think there's people who would really love it, and I think that's where Lamorne's character and Christian Brune's character get a lot more.
Yeah, they'd love it, of course.
It's so, you know, editing and knowing that, you know, this film is going to live in one version, and you have to make the version that you think is going to be most accessible to the most number of people, and that's, I think, the challenge. I'd love to be able to do that longer cut that I think has a lot of things that we love. It's going to be released with some deleted scenes, a couple of things on iTunes, I think, and then DVD. So there's some stuff that'll be out there even in this version.
Rizwan Manji, I don't know if I pronounced that right, but Schitt's Creek, and we've seen him in so many things. And again, going back to this whole cast, these are people you will see pop up on various TV shows that steal scenes. You have scene stealers in this movie. Rizwan is awesome. Amazing.
He sure is. He sure is. I've had the pleasure. The first movie that I wrote and produced. Well, it wasn't the first movie I wrote, but it's the first movie that I would talk about. Right?
Yeah, probably a lot of movies you wrote until you got the.
Yeah, it was one that I co-wrote that was made a Lifetime-ish kind of movie. That actually, it's actually pretty good for those kinds of movies. But the first movie that I developed as it was a book that I optioned with my producing partner at the time, Lonnie Dabrowski, and Rizwan was a guy who I met through a fellow writer that I just knew from the coffee places, and we were shooting in Canada, and I knew Riz was Canadian. So I had him kind of audition for this role. It didn't work out. His dates didn't work out. But I met him after we shot the movie, and we clicked right away and have worked together on a couple of things. A pilot that we did at CBC that we co-wrote together. And so when this came around, I wasn't sure what role I wanted him in. We did a couple table reads and he read a couple different things. And he plays Sid's boss, and he's again, same thing where there's a scene in there that certainly makes me and anyone who knows me laugh. I don't know if there's an inside joke in the film that is connected with Riz and my mom. So, most people won't get it. I think the joke still works for anyone who doesn't get it, but certainly
it's an Easter egg for you. I love that.
It's sure it is. And anytime I screen the film with someone I know, that's the loudest laugh of the movie for sure. And Riz is just, I can reveal what it is. It's something that important, but the character Riz plays has an older wife, and we were going to Photoshop something of photos, but my mom was there, and so we Riz and my mom did a little photo shoot.
That's great.
And Riz also, is one of those guys. When you watch him on Schitt's Creek, I think you see that he's kind of. I feel like he's sort of in that same boat Tony is. Like, I want to make something, and we're gonna figure out the project. That show would have been a great vehicle, but a vehicle for Rizwan to be at the center of something where he's going to flex all the muscles, because he flexes, dramatic muscles. He was in a movie called Patterson with Adam Driver, which is fantastic. A Jim Jarmusch film, and then he's doing Schitt's Creek, and he's popping up in Alexander and the Horrible. Whatever day that is, horrible day, stealing scenes there. So he's capable of doing all these things, and so be able to get that to work with him to do everything is one of my ambitions for the next this next coming year.
So that inspires you, having a cast like this. You work with certain people, and it inspires you to maybe think of other projects on the set. Like, you would be great in something like this. Let's start working on it.
Absolutely, and it's funny because it's mostly the people who were the smaller the role they were in Eat Wheaties, the more I want to find something bigger for them. I know the gratitude I have for Sarah Goldberg is one of them. Hayden Sito, I don't know if they're on your list, but both of them, I've been digging to find stuff to work with together. Hayden and I are already kind of involved with a project now, and Sarah and I are hoping to get something going this year too. So yeah, absolutely. Getting the beauty about doing a film like this is that with a cast like this is that you get to meet these people who you love, and as a writer and director, to be able to work with these people again is a luxury I hope I get to have.
So the book, as you mentioned, is called The Locklear Letters. I got to imagine that the whole premise of this started 20 years ago, maybe?
Something like that, yeah. And it's funny because it's been re-released, and now the new title of the book is Eat Wheaties. Actually, they're back here. They're my backdrop. I don't know if you can see.
Oh, yeah, I can see that, yeah.
That's the original cover is Locklear Letters, and now it's called Eat Wheaties.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is. It's
Heather Locklear was, huge 20, 30 years ago. Elizabeth Banks is the center of this movie, where the main character, Tony Hale's character, thinks he thinks that he knew her and she knew him. So they go on social. He goes on social media and starts talking to her. Doesn't realize that it is, everybody sees it. It's public, and he becomes the center of attention. And that's where the trailer kind of leaves off. We don't know what's going to happen after that. We don't know how it ends. Fantastic. But where did it get to a point where it became Elizabeth Banks with being Heather Locklear first? Where did you get to Elizabeth Banks? Because she's another actor I love.
Yeah, for sure. Elizabeth Banks was, the perfect choice for this sort of updated version of what I think works so well with Heather Locklear in the book. So when I first read the book, I loved it. I love the character of Sid Straw. It's an epistolary novel. It's all told through letters from Sid Straw's desk, or he's writing flower notes, or he's, sending a message to his mom or something, or stationery at the office. Heather Locklear didn't make sense for me. I mean, to be honest, when I read the book the first time, I loved it. I just didn't see it as a movie. And I think when I reread it a couple of years ago, Michael wrote a sequel called Everybody Says Hello. And I read it again, and I realized how in the 12 or 15 years, whatever it was, in between when the book first came out and to when I read it the next time, the world has changed, and the world of celebrity had changed, and the world of communication and connection had changed. And so two things, made me feel like this was more of a film. First was this idea of how we now feel anyone feels closer to celebrities, that they're so accessible that we can, tweet at them or friend them or follow them at the very least and really be a part of their lives. The second thing was this idea that you could say or do something on social media that you think is funny or you think is interesting or you think is relevant, and other people decide that you're not funny. Or
I go through that all the time. It drives me nuts.
I know. So both of these things kind of came together and made me feel like, oh, there's a movie here now. And so when I was thinking, well, who's the celebrity that worked? I wanted somebody who really went to college. Excuse me. And I think that list was not that long to begin with, of actresses who were in that right range who went to college. And then I also wanted,
did she really go to Penn State?
She did, University of Pennsylvania, yeah. And the other thing I wanted was for it to be someone that you would imagine could be friends with a guy like Sid, when they were in college at that age. And Elizabeth Banks has this accessible feeling that she's so bright and friendly that you imagine that she could have been friends with a guy like Sid, who might have been a little socially awkward, or at least trying to be funny. And so getting her to give us permission to use her in the film the way that she's used, and getting University of Pennsylvania's blessing. They sent us all kinds of swag, and getting General Mills to say yes with Wheaties. I certainly felt confident that the story is strong enough that these people want to be affiliated with it, which is a nice way to start making your first film as a director, where at least these people think that you might be making something good. So yeah.
That's all. Well, I mean, it's your cast. Going back to the cast and Tony Hale, I mean, you really put together a movie that you could sell to General Mills and you could sell to Banks. I don't know if is she? Well, I don't know if I should ask if she's in the movie or not.
I think that's when you watch the trailer. I think that's a question that I think is worth asking. I'm not going to give an answer to it.
Good.
I don't think it's actually not important anyways, because I think that the stories about this guy who went to college with somebody famous, and that's something that I think that the more people that I pitched the idea to, and when I was thinking of making the movie, it's interesting how many people went to school with somebody that's famous. And it's funny that the tag of the trailer is that Sharon Stone story, which is from the book, and that's the version I think that that everyone else has in their life. It's like, I played ice hockey with Mario Lemieux.
Sure.
I'm not, not in touch with him anymore. and I think so. I think the idea of whether Elizabeth is going to pop up in the movie, and I hope people don't go into this thinking, oh, is she going to be in the third act of this movie? Because I think the whole fun of it is this. It's more this idea of, well, do you believe this guy who's kind of trying to convince you that he did, and more importantly, what does that mean to people? That sort of brush of celebrity in a way as an anecdote that people tell as at a party or at a bar or with their friends. That's the kind of thing that it's either coming from a place of insecurity or it's coming out of a place of trying to impress somebody else. And I think that's what's cool about what this movie is trying to say is that, it doesn't matter if he knows Elizabeth Banks. Right. It's the idea of, what is it that he's trying to do with this story, and what is it that he's, how is he trying to connect with people? And I think, that part of the story is where, I hope that people find that that's where, I hope that that's what they're hoping for, is this guy to connect again with people.
So did you have to get her story right? She went to Penn, like you said, so you found an actress that went to Penn. That was important. But any other aspect that Tony Hale's character talks about, did you have to go to Elizabeth Banks and say, would this make sense if I said this about you?
There's a fictional. I think there's a fictional version of Elizabeth Banks in this film. Okay, but at the same time, it was all done in ways that I think, like in real life, Elizabeth Banks met her husband in college, really right when she started college. And I'd imagine that a big chunk of her college experience is marked by her relationship with her husband. I didn't want to talk about the real Elizabeth Banks. I think the version of Elizabeth Banks in the film and how she relates to Sid's story, it's done in a way I think that's fun and it connects to the book. The book had a strong through line too of this relationship with the celebrity. And it's the fun of it is it's a one-sided relationship. It's Sid's version of their relationship. Sure. We did obviously send her everything that we were doing. She saw the script and she didn't have any problems with it in a way that I think, I obviously was sensitive to the fact that I'm not going to say something that's defamatory or, insulting to her in the script, because obviously she's not going to say yes. But yeah, the having her say yes to what was there was important to me, obviously.
I think a good example of this whole thing is Matt LeBlanc in Episodes. It's not Matt LeBlanc. He's playing himself, but it's a whole different character.
Yeah. And that show was a great sort of example of that. I think the thing that I hope people don't turn this into is like My Date with Drew. I don't know if you saw that, but
I loved that movie. I don't know if I believed that movie, but I loved that movie.
Well, exactly, and I think that in that movie, I think you would feel let down at some level if she doesn't show up at the end, right? I mean.
Obviously had to just to keep her thing going.
Yeah.
Hey Scott, thank you so much. Love talking to you. This movie looks amazing. Eat Wheaties. The cast is great. Tony Hale is in the lead. And it's about time we've seen Tony Hale in the lead. So thank you for that.
Absolutely.
Good luck. Where will we see it? It's April 30th. Will it be streaming?
It's going to be going out theatrically and on video on demand on the same day on April 30th. So it'll be on iTunes and Amazon and wherever else you get your VOD movies at the same time. And then and it's going to theaters as well. So it's Los Angeles hasn't quite opened up theaters fully yet, but it sounds like we're getting closer. So
yeah, we have a few here. I actually went to the movie theaters for the first time in a year and 4 or 5 months to see Long Weekend, Steve Bastileone's movie.
Oh yeah, I saw that you did an interview with him. Yeah,
had him on.
I can't wait to see it. So was it a good experience walking into the theater?
I was telling Erik this earlier, Erik Davis from Fandango. I don't know if you've run into him yet. It was like being in a zombie movie, hiding from the zombies in the movie theater. It was run down. There was nobody there. One of the letters on AMC was broken out front. So it was a totally surreal experience being somebody who used to go to the movies like once a week at one point. It was odd. I don't know. I think it's going to take some time to get back into the movie going experience, but it was nice to get back there.
Yeah, I think you're right. We'll get there eventually. The big chains out here, Pacific theaters are not reopening, which is a huge blow. That's where between the ArcLight theaters, which they owned, and there was one near my house, which I would go to often. It's sad, but I think we'll get there eventually. Look, the beauty about this film is that I think it'll work at home as well.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I think it's a kind of thing that, to be honest, when you're going through the long days that we're all going through now, it's kind of nice to turn something on that'll make you laugh.
Well, I get home at like 10 a.m., 11 a.m. on Fridays. On April 30th, that's a Friday, right? Yeah. Actually, April 30th, I'm getting my second shot.
Nice.
So I will be bedridden, I'm sure, because everyone gets sick from the second shot, and I will be able to put on Amazon Prime and watch Eat Wheaties. I'm looking forward to it.
Absolutely. Well, I hope you like it, and stay in touch.
All right. Thanks, Scott. Take care.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
The movie looks fantastic. I mean, honestly, everybody in this movie is amazing, and I cannot wait to see it. All right, let's do this. Let's do the cap with Jay.
Hey!
What's happening, Jay?
What's going on?
We went into the ish part of the show. Yeah. How you been?
Happy hour-ish. It always goes over. But that's the thing. The important stuff is earlier, and then the after-hour stuff, that's just whatever.
I really have to go to the bathroom. I don't know if you can entertain people for like 3 minutes.
3 minutes. That's pretty fast. No one else is in the queue to chat with me?
Nobody joined us. I put it out to all of our buddies, but nobody is here. While Jeff is watching, he's got the link. I know he does. Jeff is watching.
All right, yeah, go for it, man. I'll try my best. I'll see what I can do.
Why don't you start talking about Willy's Wonderland?
Sure. Okay.
Give everybody the synopsis, and then we'll talk about it.
Okay. So, a couple days ago, Ray posted on social media that he had watched Willy's Wonderland, starring Nicolas Cage and a bunch of other people that, in all honesty, I didn't know, but I could recognize a couple of them. It's about Nicolas Cage's character ends up at an old Chuck E. Cheese. It's a Chuck E. Cheese that's been run down, it's abandoned, and what happened was there's a bunch of what the hell is that? What happened was there's a bunch of well, I don't want to give it too far away, but the animatronics in this old Chuck E. Cheese, because let's just call it what it is, Willy's Wonderland is a Chuck E. Cheese, come to life and murder people. And Nicolas Cage's character just seems to be having the time of his life in there fighting these things. And in which case there's this whole backstory with, a bunch of kids trying to destroy the evil lair. It was a pretty ridiculous premise, and it really, really, really easy for me to enjoy because I like senseless horror comedies. Definitely some hilarious stuff. Definitely some noggin scratchers though as to where they were going with it. But the overall everything to do with it, it's a comedy slasher. It's demons. It's Chuck E. Cheese. I mean, just imagine if Chuck E. Cheese. Oh, here's a good thing. If you had seen. What was it? They did the banana splits. So you remember the banana splits from our youth, and they were great. They redid it as a movie, and again, these animatronic banana splits went crazy and started killing everyone. Great movie. Me and Don loved it. Thought it was great. So going into this one, we're like, it's not going to be much different. There's killer animatronics, and we're going to see if we're entertained. And if we're entertained by Nick Cage, who is not going to be entertained by Nick Cage? So the funny thing about it, and I'm going to give a spoiler off the bat, he doesn't say a word the entire movie. The entire freaking movie. Not one word. But that didn't bother me at all because everyone else makes up for him not talking. And no one really thinks much about it as the entire thing goes on. So I gave it, honestly, a thumb up and a half. I give it that. Ray, you're back, but you're muted. So
I knocked the internet out as I was running out of the room.
Yeah, because all of a sudden it stopped, and I saw you did it again. You got up and left again. I'm like, what the hell's that? How did that happen?
Yeah. Oh, so I asked you to entertain for at least 3 minutes while I go to the bathroom.
Wow.
Oh yeah, my sister, because I had mentioned Willy's Wonderland, and she had responded right away, watched the trailer, and she was like, WTF. I mean, we swear in the ish, but I'm just gonna leave it at that.
What the foghorn?
Right. Why the face? If you're a Modern Family fan. I don't know.
It's okay. Right, you didn't have to like it. You weren't a big fan, and that's okay. I walked into this knowing exactly what I was getting into, with the exception of there were a couple of, like I said, the head scratchers. But other than that, everything I wanted. I wanted crazy Nick Cage, got it. I wanted crazy animatronics, got it. I wanted no wait, that's it. I got it.
That's all the movie is. I think I had higher expectations. I really thought, because I love horror movies. I love the kill scenes. Yeah. I wasn't crazy about the kill scenes because it's all oil. It's not like these animatronics they move with oil. So when there's blood splatter, it's oil splatter. So it really didn't do the trick for me.
A good kill scene can help a movie, even a crappy movie, 100%. The production value on this was amazing, though. I will say I didn't expect it to be as good as it was.
At the same time, I'm sorry. At the same time, I didn't like how choppy the kill scenes were. I mean, the fight scenes. It was so choppy. I felt like the first thing I thought of was Nick Cage can't do stunts anymore. They had to film it in a way where it looked like he was fighting because it was just so many different camera shots. I don't know.
It's possible. I think that was just the director's artistic view of it, in my opinion.
But if you're looking for crazy Nick Cage, then that's the movie for you. You're absolutely right. He's bonkers, and you don't know why. He's the good guy, but for some reason, he is just absolutely nuts.
Yep. So I wrote that on your page today, and Fitch immediately replies and says, Jay, I had a dream which actually explained all the reasons and went blah blah blah. This is why he does this, and this is why this happened. This is why this happened. To which I'm like, wow. And I replied, Fitch, I had a dream about Godzilla last night. I don't know what to say. And I did.
So he drinks soda. It's not a big plot point. He drinks Coke his alarm goes off, and he has to drink some pop soda.
Yep.
And then he plays. Oh my god! And then he plays pinball, and he actually takes the time from some very serious moments to stop what he's doing to go do this. And at one point, though, I think the last time he does it, I mean, it's a thing. He's doing the dance, and he's being Nick Cage and weird Nick Cage. And you're like, what does this have to do with anything? And then he takes the fact that he rode off with the 17-year-old girl. I didn't get. Are they together? Because that's really creepy.
No, they're kindred spirits now. That's all I got out of it. Was she was in no way staying in that town because she was being like. Plus, all her friends might or might not have gotten murdered. So
the funny thing was that one couple, the guy's like, I ain't going in there. I don't want to go in there. This is crazy. I don't want to go in there. And then once he gets in, it's like, hey, let's go in this room and have some sex.
Well, that's why, because it's good, typical horror fodder right there. And that's what I love. Right. I like predictable, and I like not so predictable.
I'm not watching it again. Hi, Tim Rice.
I've been here forever.
I'm sorry. We're talking about a movie you probably would never watch.
One, why wouldn't I watch it? I would watch it, but I haven't watched it yet.
You are not a horror household, though.
I'm not a what?
A horror household, as far as movies go.
I like all movies. That movie looks really cool.
Yeah.
It was.
I think the Banana Splits movie was better only because the characters were recognizable.
I love the Banana Splits movie.
It was better just because it was a better movie. That's straight up.
Oh, that too, yeah.
Hands down. I was. But again, if you like that one, Tim, then you're going to enjoy this one.
I'm going to watch it.
You're not going to enjoy it.
But
I'm not going to enjoy it.
But don't be Ray and don't go in there with high expectations. These kind of movies.
I want a producer credit tonight.
Yeah. So earlier today, Tim messaged me. He says, "Have you seen the trailer for Eat Wheaties?" I said, "No, I haven't." So I watched it, and I said, "Oh, that's awesome." So as we're talking, I go on Twitter and then I go on Facebook. I find that they have a Facebook page for the movie, not the filmmakers, but through the movie, I message them and say, "Hey, look, I'm trying to reach somebody to do my show," and he says, "Hey, I'm the producer. Tell me more about your show." I tell him more about the show. He goes, "Oh, well, here's Steve's thing." He goes, "Oh, wait a minute. I read your bio. You're from a radio station. Here's Scott's email address, who's the director." I'm like, geez, thanks. Great. So all within 10 minutes of talking, while I'm talking.
Hey, you and I are still talking. You're like, they're going to be on my show tonight.
I'm going to have the guys on, or I'm going to have Scott on. I talked about this with Erik Davis, the film critic from Fandango. He would much rather talk to the filmmakers as well. As much as I'd love to talk to Tony Hale, how much did I get out of Scott? That was just
the conversation you and Erik had. We had today too.
Yeah, we did. All the people that are in it.
All the people. No, but none. Just who you want to talk to, because they're more passionate about it.
Well, yeah, that's right. With Erik, that's right.
An actor is literally an employee. They show up, they punch the clock, they do their job, they leave. Where these producers, writers, directors, they have so much more invested in it. They want to talk about it. And, I mean, the guy loves his movie. You can tell that.
Oh my God.
To the point that I want to see the movie that he's not going to show us. Like, that was really upsetting. Like,
like
you would love this part, but it's not in the movie.
If I asked Tony Hale, what was it like working with Alicia Cuthbert? He might say, "Well, we really didn't have any scenes together." Next question.
Yeah. Then he asked him, how come he only has one arm?
What?
Then you ask Tony Hale, how come he only has one arm?
Yeah. You know what I would want to ask Alicia Cuthbert is, what's up with the cougar? Why did they do that in 24? Do you remember that in season 1 of 24? There was like a whole episode where she evaded a cougar.
I have never watched an episode.
Oh my God, that's such a good show.
I never watched it either.
You people surprise me.
And I love Kiefer. He's awesome.
Not enough though, obviously.
You know what it was? I think I probably missed like the first couple, and I was like, "Well, I can't. If I missed the first couple,
I think that's what. I had too much pressure to be, and it was before streaming, so you couldn't just go catch up.
That was it. We were done.
You know what? I didn't watch the first 2 months of Lost, and then Lost played 8 episodes in a row, like for a week, because nobody did. And if they didn't do that, I would have never watched that show and been sadly disappointed when it ended.
Okay, so here's a question. We were sadly disappointed when it ended, but it was still such a great show for as long as it was on. Would you watch that show again, knowing the ending? Would you watch it for a second time?
So I have.
You have?
Yeah, I binged it with Anna a couple years ago because she hadn't watched it, and I loved it. I just love the characters. You fall in love with all of them. And then if you could just.
What did you say to Anna? Because I started, it's a similar thing. I started watching Walking Dead with Jack, and I couldn't help but like pause every 10 minutes.
I did the same thing.
Give him a fact. When the polar bears showed up in the first season, did you have to say something to her?
Yeah, like not Penny's boat and all that stuff. I was like, oh yeah, the kid. She's like, what? No. And then I try to tell her, don't get too attached to certain people. Like, oh, this guy's cool. Yeah, no, you don't. He's not a guy you follow.
Claire had the baby, Kevin.
Yeah, you know what? Lost would have been a great one season.
And then I guess
a movie, maybe.
Yeah. Then Dan's sitting here with me. Dan and Anna and I watched it. Dan walked in 3 episodes in. No, when we were watching it the first time.
We were watching it, and when they got to the hatch, I'm like, they go in the hatch and move the island.
Dan gives the whole lot. He blah, 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 and then walks out of the room. It's like, holy crap, that's the next 5 seasons of this whole show in 4 sentences. And he just walks away.
I have rules. Fact Fun Ramondo. Yeah, I have rules. I don't know if they're rules, but I do have to stop shows. I do it with the Goldbergs all the time with the kids, because you really have to explain to a 13-year-old how something from the 80s was relevant.
But does the 13-year-old really think you need to explain that, or do you?
No,
just
not at all.
Yeah, so you don't have to, Ray.
I don't.
You just choose to.
But it's something I need to do for me.
To answer your question, Ray, I personally would not watch it again just because I loved it, but I loved it when I thought they actually knew what they were doing. Yeah. By the last season, you realize that they didn't have it planned out. They really didn't have a definitive answer as to what half the stuff they were writing about was. And they're just like, Let's just write it this way.
Lost made me bitter to why I don't watch 24 and stuff like that.
I could see that. I mean, 24 each season was a different situation, but you kind of have to know who Jack Bauer is and what.
But The Lost is the TV show that got me sour against network television, because I know that it probably would have been a better show on FX or HBO or Showtime, but it wasn't, because you know that they were told. I mean, we've all heard enough since the show's been off the air that they only want X amount of seasons. Like, they had a story, but then like you got to expand it. Then there was the writer's strike. That was that show was against so many things. It's just like, hey, let's just throw this against the wall. And then it turns out that whole production company is not as good as we thought they were. Look what they've done to Star Wars. Look what they did to Star Trek.
They wanted the money. And then the creators, J.J. Abrams, like, I'm good. But
thought he was the golden boy.
Yeah.
Not for nothing, but I love J.J. Abrams' Star Trek. Star Trek from J.J. Abrams was the only stuff I really will continue to watch.
It's the only reason why I got into Star Trek in the first place was J.J.
Me too.
Abrams.
I mean, don't get me wrong. As a kid, I watched all the original Star Trek, but I mean, if you were to give me an option, it was Star Wars all day long. Hell, I would watch Battlestar before I'd watch Star Trek, to be honest with you. But JJ, man, he turned it into this action, extreme friggin' sci-fi adventure, and I loved it.
He opened
Dexter's
up the movie with
back.
Beastie Boys.
Dexter's filming right now.
Yes, it is. And I have people on the inside trying to get me on the set.
Nice.
Really?
Stay tuned.
Wow.
Okay. Well, that one was a pain in the ass too, because I would have been perfectly fine with a really good ending, but they had to leave it open because, boom, we're having new Dexter. But back then they wanted to make a movie or something, so they had to have this ridiculous ending. I mean, honestly, the last season wasn't that good, and that ending was just stupid.
The last season, you can't say wasn't that good. That's not fair. It was worse than it wasn't that good.
Well,
but I think they know that, and I think that's why they're creating another season. Like,
I'm glad they're trying to redeem themselves. Yeah.
What was it? They peaked with what was it? Was
Ice Pick Killer.
Oh,
no,
yeah.
not the Ice Pick Killer.
Oh,
That was awesome.
John Lithgow.
John Lithgow was the best season.
Yeah, that was the best season. Hard to top you, especially with that kind of cast. With John Lithgow as a killer, man, he was the best, because you usually know him as, a comedic actor from so many things, and then when you see his serious roles, man, he blows you away.
Well, there was one scene where you think he's normal, and then he's at the dinner table and he calls his wife the C word, like he's gonna slash her throat right there, and it's like, oh my god, this took a turn. And then from that point on,
he didn't say that on Third Rock from the Sun.
No,
oh man, but he was genius on Third Rock.
Oh, he's great.
One of the funniest things in the world I've ever seen is just him discovering tissues. He takes one out, he looks down, he takes another one, he's like, oh my god. And just the way he did that, it was right up there with Jim taking the driving test in Taxi.
I've never seen The Sopranos. I know how it ends. I know the story. I know all that. And from what I understand, that wasn't a fan favorite.
I didn't mind it. I love that series, and I didn't mind how it ended. But
no,
I love the series. I didn't mind how it ended. I would have liked a different ending, but didn't bother me.
I didn't like the explanation of why he said that this is the ending you deserved or something like that. He got a little snobby about it.
Oh my gosh, those are fighting words.
Oh, Kevin Schuler, everyone.
I don't see. So I don't know I don't know if it's worth going to the set in Grafton, because they're filming in Grafton.
Sure.
I don't know if it's a side scene. I don't know if the main characters will be there, but we'll see.
The answer is go.
Go.
Let's go. Yeah. Remember we tried to get on the set of Super Troopers 2.
We didn't try hard enough.
No, we didn't. But you know what? I have reached out to almost all of those guys. Paul Soder, maybe he changed his email, but he hasn't been responding to me. And Erik Stankowski, or Stokolowski. Yeah. Stolansky. Who?
Stolansky.
Yeah, that's it. I had some communication with him. He played Rabbit in the movie. And I had a few conversations with him, and he kept blowing me off. Like, would you like to do this Friday night? And he would say, oh, I'm up at my camp this week. And it was very short, one word or couple of word sentences.
You just move on. Sadly, I get it. those are just the people that just don't want to. It's too bad though, man, because I would love to talk to Lemmy or Kevin about Tacoma FD, man. That is just, I mean, genius comedy series, and they are coming back for a new season.
I think if I can get in touch with Kevin Heffernan, and I've talked to him before, not that he would know me, obviously, but I feel like he's the one that would be very accessible.
You should get Mariah Carey on this show.
It always seems like Steve and Kevin are the ones that are more out there doing everything with the public more. I've noticed.
I posted earlier a interview I did in 1999 with Mariah Carey. At the end of it, she kisses me. Just on the But you hear, I don't know how to respond to it. I'm like, yeah, that's good.
Well, 1999 Mariah Carey, I probably would have washed my face first.
She was so sweet. Because again, I haven't listened to that interview in like 20 years. But when I listened back, she was so nice. And she actually addressed the fact that the media thought she was crazy. And she was aware of all that stuff. It was one of the best interviews I've ever had. With
she was in studio, though. That's cool.
What's that?
I didn't realize she was in the studio. I thought it was.
No, she wasn't. No, I had to go to a hotel room.
But you were live.
Ooh, Ray was in Mariah's hotel room.
It was a face-to-face then is what I meant.
Yes, it was a face-to-face. He was so nice. He really was.
That's awesome.
So Tim had this idea. I think it was you, Tim, that said you should put some interviews out from time to time.
Yes.
Was it you?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to do that. I've been going.
You have all this stuff. You.
I know. I do. I have all the air checks, and I have all these interviews with people I've done. Like I was looking through my CDs, and Nathan Fillion comes up. I interviewed Nathan Fillion when he was doing Firefly. No, it was Two Guys and a Girl, I think. Wow. So he was nobody, and now he's Nathan Fillion from Firefly and The Rookie.
Well, I believe that was Two Guys, a Girl, and a Pizza Place. I believe Two Guys and a Girl is a different show altogether.
No, they dropped in a Pizza Place, and it was Two Guys and a Girl. Yeah.
Oh, the joke is lost then.
Yeah.
And then when I was working in Portsmouth, we called the morning show Two Guys and a Girl. Because of that.
Then there was that other video.
That was the other video, yes.
Hey, Ray, there you go.
It's true.
Ray, I got we're going to do, can you name what this prop was in? What movie this prop was in? It'll go to you first, and you're going to get it. You're automatically going to get it.
I've had a few double IPAs.
This is an easy one.
Okay.
I got this awesome prop from an awesome movie, and if you don't get it, then Tim almost will definitely get it, but one cup. All right, are you ready?
Yeah.
All right, what prop was this comic book from?
Oh my God, I don't know.
Really?
Tim, do you know?
No, I don't have a clue.
Really? Okay, I'll give you a little bit of background.
Okay, hold on. I would say Lost Boys.
You would be correct.
Well, I was going to be like, yes, but I have no reason why I know that.
At the comic book store.
At the comic book store, when the Frog Brothers talk to Sam and say, "Read this," and he looks at him, and he's like, "I don't like horror comics. This one will save your life," you know. And at the time, I remember watching, it thinking, "This is a comic book. Why wouldn't it just be a comic book?" But this is actually a prop that was made for it. It actually is a comic book inside, but it was never actually made. There was this one, and then there was the second one that they got him, Destroy All Vampires. Just a cool thing that I found online. People were making these replicas, and I'm like, hell yeah, I want the replicas from that.
That's nice.
All right, I got one more.
Okay.
Can you name this prop? Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay.
Oh, I know what that is.
Oh, that's from Harry Hamlin's movie.
Yep.
Titans, Clash of the Titans.
You got it. Do you remember his name?
No.
His name is
I don't know his name, but I know him.
What was
Bubo.
it? Bubo.
Yep. Given to Hercules by Zeus himself. I'm sorry, not Hercules.
Clash.
What was his name? Holy crap. He wasn't named Clash. Hey, Clash, come on over here. Get yourself your robot out. It's going to be great. Perseus. Perseus was his name.
We were looking for Perseus. The answer was Perseus.
Yes. We got that for Don at Super Mega Fest a while back. That's one of Don's favorite props.
Nice.
Tim, what do you have accessible?
I have Crud Critter.
From
because the dog keeps pissing on the floor. And I got a lens cap because I don't know why it's just here.
It's okay. That's all good stuff.
All right. While you're grabbing something to show the camera, I'm just going to say that my buddy Matt happened to stop by Treehouse, so I have some delicious Treehouse beers, Jeff, in case you were wondering what I was drinking. And this right now is still one of my absolute favorites from Treehouse, 7. So rock and roll. And if you notice, I'm not drinking it out of the can. I'm drinking out of the glass.
I like Ray's helmet.
From the Water Boy.
Yep. Who's it signed by?
That's Henry Winkler.
That's awesome.
Yeah. That's a real helmet, too.
So we're going to wear it and we're going to play some backyard ball?
We're going to play the football.
That's a movie that couldn't be made these days.
No, not at all.
No.
Well, this actually fits. I've never put this on before.
You should have wear that Friday when you go get your shot.
Oh, that's a good idea.
You look like a real football player.
2 out of 3 of us got COVID vaccinated this week with vaccines that you can't get anymore. So they're limited edition.
We are truly guinea pigs as of right now.
I was the last guinea pig in the state.
That's amazing.
No, it's not something you want.
No.
So 7 o'clock Tuesday morning, I sat down at Walmart in Bellingham, which is a fine establishment if they're a sponsor, and they put the shot into my arm, and they at 7:03, and they say, go sit in that chair right there, wait 15 minutes. I sat in the chair, and as I sat in the chair, my phone has an alert that goes across that says Johnson & Johnson vaccine discontinued or paused. And I hold it up to show the pharmacist to go, hey, have you seen this? Yeah, we just got that. And then they stopped.
But you got it in, though.
Yeah, now I have 3 arms.
So you got sick, right?
I got sick for 3 hours, yes.
How long did it take you until you felt that sickness?
12 hours, exactly.
12 hours, and then you get sick for, what would you say, 3 hours?
I got really sick for 3 hours, and I was drained for a good 24 hours.
Jay, what'd you have, the Moderna?
No, I got it.
Oh, you had that too. So what was it, 12 hours and then 3 hours?
No, it was, I got it at 12:45, and then at 9 o'clock on the dot, a switch flipped.
Just a switch.
And all of a sudden I'm like, whoa, and I got these crazy, I mean, just they're flu symptoms, you got chills, you got fever, you got body aches. I couldn't sleep. Mine lasted more along the lines of like 8 or 9 hours.
Wow.
And then, but by Tuesday afternoon, I mean, I was just fatigued. I was fine.
Yeah, I was checking in with Jay all day long, and then all of a sudden I just get a text going, here it goes.
Yeah, Molly had hers, and then she had hers like at 11 o'clock, her second one, the Moderna. I think it was the Moderna. And then 3-4 o'clock in the afternoon, she was really down for the count, and then had a fever of 103 at one point.
Oh, that's a big fever.
Yeah. So I got mine, my second one on April 30th, which is a Friday.
So there won't be a show that night.
There will probably not be a show that night. And there won't be a show next Friday night.
There should be a show the 30th, though. You should do a show no matter
Maybe
what.
I will. That's probably a good idea.
We'll join you.
Yeah, okay.
We'll be here to insist. But yeah, I think that should be the show. Who's tonight's guest? Tonight's guest is the second COVID shot.
Maybe I'll try to get Fauci on. I got Fauci's. I got his press person on, or to respond to me once, and this was early on. And she's like, "Well, he's kind of busy." I'm like, "I get that."
How awesome would it be to have Fauci on this show?
Maybe I'll try again.
Well, why wouldn't he be? I'm sure he'd much rather be on this.
Yeah, he'd much rather be on this show than see
Tucker Carlson.
Getting yelled at left and right.
Actually,
Tucker Carlson this week.
I should really try hard to get somebody, if not Fauci, somebody like him on the 30th after my second shot.
You should, yes. But do you see him go after Carlson?
No, I didn't see that. No.
Oh, it's awesome. So the press asked him. So Tucker went on, and he was just Tucker Carlson doing his Tucker Carlson thing he does. And then the next day they're showing it to Fauci, and Fauci's just like, no, none of this is right. Like, because no. And so they kept splicing it back and forth. So here's what Carlson says, and they're like, nope, no, that's completely wrong. And then they just kept showing it over and over, how he just kept saying that he's just got no facts. There's no science behind anything he's saying.
Carlson's an interesting character.
He's a character. He's playing a character. He knows what he's doing. He's getting rich from it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Probably a tree hugger on the side. Probably.
It's like I was talking about with Gary Busey, with the other guy. He plays a character.
Is Busey a character? Or is that Busey? Busey's had some incidents.
If he's playing a character, he's brilliant.
Busey is the best character ever, man. I love on what the hell was it? Entourage, man. He was great on Entourage.
He was good.
He hasn't been okay since his motorcycle accident.
No. So I binged on Amazon Prime today. I binged Frank from Ireland. That's not the name of the show. Hold on. If you guys are looking for a show to binge.
And so next up, I have some delicious, very green from Treehouse. I got a case of Treehouse, man, and I'm just like a kid in freaking Toys R Us with this kind of beer. It's fantastic. I'm ecstatic about it.
Okay. It is Frank of Ireland.
Okay.
And it stars. Do you know who Brendan Gleeson is?
Sounds familiar.
His grandson.
All right. Yes.
Ooh.
Brendan Gleeson is an Irish actor. Okay, you'll know him from this. Okay, so there's Brendan Gleeson.
I know that guy. Yeah.
All right, so you've seen him in a lot of shows and movies. He's awesome. So Brendan Gleeson has 2 kids. This guy is named Donald Gleeson, and you've probably seen him in a lot of movies. He's not this handsome in all the movies. He's very Irish. He was in that movie about time travel with somebody. Anyway.
Back to the Future. That was a good one.
So he's one of them. And then I had never seen the other guy who, it was called About Time. And About Time was with Rachel McAdams. All right. Women will know. You guys might not know.
I've seen the trailer.
Okay, so that guy's been in a few things. And then his brother, Donald Gleason's kid, is this guy. I've never seen him before, but that's Donald Gleason's not Donald. Who did I say? Brendan Gleason's son.
I don't know. I'm writing this down. Yep.
Okay, good. This is the whole thing. Him and the other kid I just showed are brothers. So they made this show called Frank of Ireland. And they are the sons in real life of Brendan Gleeson. And I find the whole connection just fascinating. Brendan Gleeson was on the last episode. It's a very funny show. So watch that show.
Okay.
All of that just to say, good show. Watch it.
I'm looking forward to watching Sunday night. They're starting to do the biographies on A&E of the wrestlers. It's going on Sunday night.
You did that in like 5 seconds. Good for you.
What?
Took me forever to talk about my show.
While we were talking, Ray, I just texted the whole Gleason family is going to be on my show next week.
Nice.
Yeah. One's coming over for dinner.
Jay, are you drinking Treehouse?
I am drinking Treehouse.
While you were doing the whole Gleason thing, he explained he was drinking Treehouse.
Kevin Schuler, everyone.
So I just made friends with one of the owners from Treehouse.
Oh, and you make sure that you're very good to that person, Ray.
He's going to be on the show in a couple weeks.
April 30th.
Now, when you say he's going to be on the show, does that mean he'll send some samples?
Well, that's exactly what Justin asked, and I don't know because actually 67. This was awesome. So this is a collaboration with ArcPoint as one. And they're raising money and awareness for immigrants in Massachusetts. Can't see it. Anyway, they dropped off 2 4-packs for me the other day. So when a local brewery asks for your address so that they can give you free beer, I know I made it.
Hell yeah!
So
I went to a Girl Scout meeting last night. They asked me for my address. I wonder what I'm going to get.
Well, you get cookies. That's pretty cool, too.
Oh, cookies would be good.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, how do you not see cookies in your future?
I don't know. The cool thing was they weren't that sad that I showed up because I wasn't invited, but I just go to Girl Scout meetings.
You can't do that, Tim.
No. That's just a joke. I was at a Girl Scout meeting. I was invited. There's photo evidence of it. What? Anybody watching?
There's a few like never mind.
People. This show's 2 hours long at this point.
Rutherford and Sons. I had Brian on a couple weeks ago. Their outdoor patio is opening tomorrow, but my plan is, and I know Tim's gonna be excited about this.
With the cheese.
Sunday at 11 o'clock, Say Cheese is gonna be there, and I thought we do this and then go to the Grafton Flea Market on Sunday, on the way or on the way back. So that's pretty exciting.
Who's doing that?
Oh, I don't. Anybody that wants to go to the flea market, we'd have to stop here and have a grilled cheese and a beer.
I didn't know if you were inviting us or you were just telling us what you were doing.
No, I am. I know Jay goes every week, and it just opened. I forgot that it opened. But
well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
How close is that to the Grafton Flea Market?
It's right behind
Nevermind, right?
Yeah, Nevermind. Man, that's awesome. I'm looking really forward to going to a new brewery. This is awesome.
So that's right near Mnuchin's house. So we could always, on a Friday night in the future, pass out at his place.
At least on his porch.
I don't want to pass out at Mnuchin's house.
I'm cool with it.
So 67 Degrees Brewing teamed up with Stash Strong, and they raise money and awareness for brain cancer research. They have a brew coming out called Smash for Stash, and it's going to be available in May, and half of the proceeds go to the cause. There's a couple different places you can get it: 67 Degrees, Crew Brew, Mighty Squirrel, which is awesome. I love Mighty Squirrel, and Wormtown, the original, one of the original local craft beers. I would say that Jack's Abbey was probably the first. Sam Adams, obviously.
Sam Adams would be the first.
Yeah, but Jack's Abbey was close to like really local, and then Wormtown was not too far behind there. But did I promote that okay? Did you get it? That it was I
got it the first time we promoted it at the beginning of the show.
I know, but then we might have new listeners or new viewers. I don't know.
That's what we get this time of night is more new people.
Yeah.
Chris, when was his birthday? Was yesterday, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, Chris.
Happy birthday to you.
Don't do that.
You can't. You got to pay. Yeah, don't do that.
Oh, you want to see something really cool? You want to see something cool?
Yeah.
I meant to play that before I talked to the filmmaker.
You missed such an opportunity. When you posted that the other day, I watched it like 2 or 3 times. I'm not joking. I watched it. I really enjoyed it, and I just kept watching it, but picturing you making it. Like Ray's lying down in his front yard. Yeah, video of this people driving by.
I was picturing Ray inside that stomper, just driving. That's why I wish you actually edited in.
I found that in my mom's basement, and I'm like, oh my God. And then I tried looking for that pattern, that actual car. And if you Google it, do it. Google Stompers tiger pattern. Google it. You won't find it.
I don't want to do it. I'm busy right now, Ray.
You do.
So I think that's got a value of at least $40.
Whoa.
Nice.
You know, I know that because I was doing research on values of toys and basketball cards from 1991 all weekend.
You were on a nostalgia kick all week.
I was, yeah. I was at my mom's all weekend. She had hip replacement, so I was taking care of her. So I was going through a lot of old
You were
stuff.
going through your shit. You weren't taking care of your mom.
Well, she had to nap from time to time. So
your mom, drink this. You're like Seinfeld with that girl where he plays with her toys.
The Oxy is amazing. I'll tell you that right now.
That episode's horrible now that you think about it.
Which one?
the Seinfeld episode where they drug the woman with tryptophan, and then they brings over George and they play with their vintage toys. It's very Bill Cosby.
That's another show that I don't know plays well.
No, it does. I've tried to watch it again. It does not survive.
First of all, the hygienes.
The whole notion of it's about nothing. Well, apparently 30 years later, it's about something. It's about some really bad stuff. Like it's not.
Those people were horrible.
They were horrible people. They should have ended up in jail.
They should, and then they did a show like It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. That made more sense.
Yes.
They were horrible, but they owned it.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. That actually, speaking of It's Always Sunny, while I was sitting there on Monday night with my shivers and fever, that's what kept me going. There was it was like 7 episodes of It's Always Sunny on. I'm like, at least I can watch this, and I'm just like shaking watching, but laughing at the same time.
You know what I watched during my chills was Gary Goldman, the comedian.
I don't know.
Goldman.
That's really tall guy. He's hilarious. You'd know him if you saw him.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's not that good if nobody knows who it is.
Today is Tom Segura's birthday. So
I love Tom Segura. He's quite funny.
He is so funny. Him and Bert, what's his name?
They're like relatives. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they do everything together. So funny.
Is he funnier than Rickety Cricket when they get him rehooked on drugs and he starts playing the freaking trash cans and he's trying, he's got to pop the nips. He's having a good time.
Can you get somebody from Sunny on this show? That would be great.
Yes.
So, back when they first started, and it may have been MySpace, I got in touch with Dee and Charlie Day, and they wrote right back to me. And it was, but I think they had like 5 friends on those platforms.
I think Charlie Day is one of the smartest people walking the planet.
How is Charlie Day not doing 500 more things than he should be?
No, he is so brilliant.
Horrible Bosses alone. Jason Bateman and Jason Sudeikis, 2 great actors, right?
Yep.
Charlie Day is the third. And everyone's like, who's that guy? But he is far better than any of them comedically.
When Dee wants to take him on a spa day, and she's like, I want to take a spa day. And what's spa? Are you trying to say spaghetti? And you're just not finishing? Do you want to have a spaghetti day? Just stuff like this is just, it's gold, Jerry. It's gold.
Record breakers?
Way too many words, Jeff. What does this say?
He had a TV show? Oh, they had a TV show.
I don't remember.
Are you talking about penny racers? Because those were stupid.
He's not talking about those. I like the cars.
Google it, he says. Do it.
I'm Googling record breakers.
We're all going to Google. What they call record breakers?
That's what he says. He says these are record breakers. There was a TV show about it, and he loved it.
A record store called Record Breakers comes up.
I have a Guinness Book of World Records that came up.
This is the worst game ever, Jeff.
And Leon is getting larger.
Why didn't Jeff just come on the show?
All right, I got it. You ready?
Yep.
And then we gotta go. We gotta go.
Yeah.
Ooh. Apparently
Tim. I don't know what happened to Tim. I really don't. He got out by himself. That wasn't me. Hold on. I gotta share the screen. Here I go, talking my way through this. I gotta share the screen. I gotta go to this thing, share audio. I gotta share, and then is that on? Do you see that? There it is. All right, let's see what this record breaker thing is all about.
We're down to the finals. This is what it's all about. These guys spent weeks modifying, changing tires, engines, and this is it. This is what it's all about. We're gonna go for the big races, the big marbles, weeks of preparation. Let's see how they do this. Taking in this air is just
Oh my God, number 20 is Derby. Holy crap.
This is exciting. Oh. I can't see anything that's happening. I've got my number on number 5.
Number 20 all the way.
Oh, that got screwed. That was mine. Damn it. I know this video game. It's off-road.
I used to love playing off-road.
We're down to 2. Final lap. Now they're going neck and neck to the wire. And
That Jesse
Definitely not
Ventura.
a part of this.
and it is number 9.
What is that kid doing now? Shucks. Everyone hates that kid.
Jesse Ventura is one
I
of
was
the.
gonna say, is that Jesse Ventura doing
Yeah, I
that?
think it was. Yeah. So that kid won a $100 savings bond, which is worth $125 today.
For doing nothing. You didn't train for that. You just put a
I
card
would
down.
definitely say though, I never saw that show, but I would definitely have watched that show as a kid.
What was that on? Was that PBS? Was that a local show?
I don't know.
I don't know. If only Jeff was on the show to talk about what he wants us to talk about.
That's funny.
That was good. That was quick though, Ray. Good, quick freaking editing right there.
That's
Shake it, Mace.
what I do.
Yeah, but it was Jesse Ventura was the commentator.
I cut it too short. I heard his voice. I'm like, I should keep it going. Told you. Now I'm going to go to bed watching that. Like, I'm going to bring that up. I'm going to watch.
I'm going to go watch The Falcon.
Yeah, I'm going to watch that too.
And then I hope everyone's still watching the Invincible, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. That's my Friday night. It's Falcon and Invincible. It's awesome.
Yeah, I don't think I told you to. Have you watching it, Tim?
Yes.
So that first episode, I'm like, because Jay kept saying you got to watch this. It's awesome, but it's R-rated. And the first episode, I'm like, this is okay. It's all right. It's cute. It's okay. It's PG. Oh, maybe they said damn or whatever. PG-13, I get it. And then all of a sudden, holy shit! What are they doing? He's gonna squeeze his eye out. Wow. That thing took a turn.
I have every issue. I've read every book, and even at the end of the first episode, I know what was going to happen. I'm like, holy crap, you can't do that on television.
I think I have the first one, but I just never read it, I guess. Or
yeah, I think I gave it to you because I told you that it's my favorite comic book.
It's one of the best comic book series ever. Yeah,
and it's funny because I was thinking Robert Kirkman. I'm like, this is really lame for him.
Oh, funny. Just before we go, funny story about Kirkman though. So the only way he got his zombie comic book was because he gave the original script to Image, and Image read it, was just like, we don't really want to do a zombie book. He's like, oh, don't worry about it. They're gonna find out that these are actually aliens eventually, and they're like, oh, really? So it's gonna turn sci-fi. He's like, oh yeah, and he just went with it, and then a year goes by, another year goes. So when is that actually going to happen? Oh, that's never going to happen. By that time, it was so popular, it didn't matter. True story.
Ray, did you start watching Harley Quinn?
I did. Yeah, that's entertaining.
It's a really good show.
That's a dark one too.
That's what's her name from Big Bang Theory?
Yeah, there's a lot of people in there.
Everybody's in it. Yeah, the Dean from Community, the Riddler.
Oh, yeah, Jim Rash.
Seinfeld, what's his name? George is the old man in the wheelchair.
Yeah.
Well,
and there's a lot of names in Invincible as well.
Yes.
Oh God. Yeah. Oh, and they're gonna keep coming. There's so many characters that are still yet to appear. Just keep watching the characters at the end when they do the credits. You'll know every single one of them.
It's cool because if you on Amazon, if you hit pause, it tells you who's on the screen talking. Yeah. And I keep doing it, going, okay, who's here's now. Yeah. And then I get mad because then I'll go to Netflix or Hulu and they don't do that. I'm like, everybody should have to do that.
Effing slackers.
Speaking of voiceovers, Billy West's birthday is today.
Oh, cool!
It's Billy West's birthday.
And I sent him a card.
That made more sense. Okay, he's 69.
Ren and
Stimpy.
Yeah, and yeah. Okay.
But that's what he's known for. He's known for.
He's going. Yeah.
Good night, Ray.
Futurama. Yeah.
Now, just so everyone knows, I watched the other day, starring Dean Cameron, Rockula. So if you get a chance, watch Rockula. It's an old. It's either late '80s or early '90s. Rockula.
I'm going to go watch it now. I was going to watch Falcon and then maybe Invincible, but I'm going to watch that now.
Okay, good.
Is it a good movie?
I loved it as a kid.
That's all you need to know. So Jay endorsed Willy's Wonderland.
Yes.
He just said Rockula was a great
movie. It was 1.5 thumbs.
I give it a thumb and a half.
All right, guys.
Thank you, Ray.
Bye. Thanks for